Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dig into company reports and try to figure out if they're pulling a fast one or genuinely building something awesome. Today we're looking at Kartoon Studios Incorporated and some recent happenings that might just be the start of something big, or well, maybe not so big. Let's dive in. If you enjoy getting these kinds of insights straight from the source, make sure you are subscribed and join our Discord community for more direct chats. The link is in the description below. This report is a Form 8K, which is like a special announcement from a company about significant events that aren't part of their regular quarterly or annual financial reports. Think of it as a company shouting something important from the rooftops to let investors know. The earliest event reported here happened on the 24th of November, 2025. This is the date we'll be focusing on for the key changes. The company is Kartoon Studios Incorporated. It is incorporated in Nevada and it trades on the nice American Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol TOON. Their main office is in Beverly Hills, California. That is good to know, but it doesn't really tell us much about the business itself, so we'll move on from the address. The main thing they have registered for trading on the stock exchange is their common stock. This is what most people buy and sell when they invest in a company like this. The first major piece of news in this report is about changes and agreements involving their top people. This section often reveals important details about how the company is compensating its leadership. Specifically, we're looking at new employment agreements. These contracts lay out the terms of employment for key executives, including their salaries, bonuses, and stock options. It is how we see what the company believes its leaders are worth and how they're incentivized. Let's start with Brian Parisi. On the 24th of November, 2025, Kartoon Studios signed a new employment deal with him. This agreement replaces his old one. Mr. Parisi will continue as the Chief Financial Officer or CFO for a 2-year period, starting the 1st of January 2026. The CFO is the person in charge of the company's money matters, so this is a pretty crucial role. His base salary will be $375,000 in the first year and $400,000 in the second. That is a solid salary, showing they value his contributions. On top of that, he is eligible for an annual performance bonus. This means if the company hits certain goals, he gets extra pay. It is a way to tie his compensation to the company's success. Perhaps the most significant part for investors is the stock award. He will receive 500,000 restricted stock units. These are like future shares of company stock that he'll get over 3 years, as long as he stays with the company. This is a big incentive to stick around and help the company grow. It signals confidence in his long-term commitment. Now let's look at Michael Jaffa on the same day, the 24th of November, 2025. Kartoon Studios also signed a new employment agreement with him, replacing his old one as well. Mr. Jaffa will continue to be the Chief Operating Officer or QO and the General Counsel. The QO oversees the day-to-day operations of the company and the General Counsel is the top lawyer. This is a dual role, suggesting significant responsibility. His new agreement is for 3 years, starting the 14th of November. 2025. His starting salary is $450,000 and it will go up by 5% every year. That is a nice yearly raise built right into the contract. Like Mr. Parisi, he's also eligible for performance bonuses. Plus, he gets a guaranteed bonus of $50,000 in December 2025, which was already promised in his previous contract. For the stock award, Mr. Jaffa will receive 750,000 restricted stock units. These also vest over 3 years. This is a larger award than Mr. Parisi's, possibly reflecting his more extensive dual role or a different valuation of his contribution. These stock grants are a strong signal that the company wants to retain its key leaders and align their interests with shareholders. Moving on, we have a section about entering into a significant definitive agreement. This means the company has signed a contract that has a real impact on its business. Kartoon Studios has made an agreement with Continuation Capital Incorporated or CCI. They owe CCI about $968,612.79, and they are going to pay this debt by giving CCI nearly 1.7 million shares of the company's stock. This is a way to settle a debt without using cash, but it does mean issuing a lot of new shares. Interestingly, a Florida court approved this agreement on the 18th of November 2025. Court approval is often needed when stock is issued to settle debts, especially if it involves regulatory bodies. The deal became official on the 26th of November 2025 after the nice American Stock Exchange gave its approval for issuing these shares. This is a critical step because issuing new shares can affect the value of existing shares. This next section, unregistered sales of equity securities, ties directly into the previous point about issuing stock. It basically takes the information we just discussed about the agreement with CCI and says it applies here too. They are issuing the shares at a rate of 1.75 shares for every dollar owed. They're also using a specific exemption from registration requirements under the Securities Act. This usually means the shares are being given in exchange for a settlement or a debt, and the fairness of the exchange is being approved by a court or regulatory body, as we saw with the Florida Circuit Court's involvement. This is a way to get the debt settled without having to go through the lengthy and costly process of registering the shares with the SEC. Finally, we have the exhibit section. This lists all the supporting documents that are filed along with the report. Exhibit 10.1 is the employment agreement between Kartoon Studios and Brian Parisi, dated the 24th of November, 2025. Exhibit 10.2 is the employment agreement between Kartoon Studios and Michael Jaffa, also dated the 24th of November, 2025. Exhibit 10.3 is the agreement and stipulation dated the 18th of November, 2025, which refers to the deal with Continuation Capital Inc. The asterisk indicates that more details or supporting schedules might be available upon request from the SEC, which is pretty standard. Exhibit 104 is the cover page of this very report, formatted in a special digital way called Inline XBRL. It is for making financial data more easily searchable. Now, let's put this all together in terms of what it means for Kartoon Studios. First, the company is investing heavily in its leadership. The generous salaries, bonuses, and significant stock grants for both the CFO Brian Parisi and the Co-General Counsel Michael Jaffa signal a strong desire to retain these key individuals. These agreements show a commitment to their current leadership team and a belief that they are crucial for the company's future success. Granting stock units is a smart way to align their financial interests with those of the shareholders. If the company does well and the stock price goes up, they benefit, which encourages them to make decisions that drive shareholder value. Second, the settlement with Continuation Capital Incorporated is a critical move. By issuing nearly 1.7 million shares to settle a debt of just under $1 million, they are essentially converting debt into equity. This can be a positive if it clears the books of upcoming obligations and strengthens the balance sheet. However, issuing so many new shares dilutes the ownership of existing shareholders. Each existing share now represents a smaller piece of the company. The rate of 1.75 shares per dollar is quite high, meaning this debt settlement comes at a significant cost in terms of share dilution. It is crucial to understand why this debt existed and whether this was the best solution. The court and exchange approvals are good signs that the process was handled with some oversight, but dilution is always a concern for investors. Looking at the bigger picture, Kartoon Studios seems to be in a phase of consolidating its leadership and managing its financial obligations. The focus on retaining top talent with significant stock incentives is a generally positive sign for operational stability and future growth. However, the dilutive share issuance to settle debt is a double-edged sword. It cleans up the balance sheet and avoids cash outflow, but it can make existing shares less valuable proportionally. It is important to watch how the company uses the cash it is presumably saving by not paying the debt directly, and how it plans to grow the business to make up for the increased number of shares outstanding. A notable risk here is the continued reliance on stock-based compensation as a primary incentive while effective. It can lead to a perception that the company is more focused on paper gains than profit generation if not managed carefully. The opportunity lies in the potential for sustained growth, fueled by the experienced leadership team and the financial flexibility gained from settling this debt. The company needs to demonstrate that the strategy behind retaining these executives and the stock issuance will translate into tangible revenue growth and profitability. In conclusion, Kartoon Studios appears to be taking steps to solidify its management team and address its financial obligations. The long-term success will depend on whether these moves lead to actual business expansion and profitability that can offset the share dilution. It's a company with experienced leadership and a clear strategy for retention, but the debt settlement raises questions about its financial health leading into this period. Alright, that is our breakdown of Kartoon Studios' latest filing. What is your take on these leadership agreements and the stock issuance? Do you think it's a smart move or a sign of financial trouble? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Don't forget to check out the Discord link in the description for direct discussions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.